going on, guys? So if you're new here to the channel and you're enjoying the content that we're putting out, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and share, and enable notifications. That way you never miss out on any of the Naruto lore-based topics that we discuss here on the channel, in particular the first of the month up to the 15th of the month, and then everything after the 15th is more so Boruto fan theories and Boruto chapter discussions. But every now and then we discuss a little bit of lore as well, depending on what happens in the manga, whether or not there's enough to talk about. So if the YouTube algorithm brought you here by accident, go to the Naruto Explained homepage, scroll down to the Naruto novel section and click on Sasuke Jinraiden, and that way you can get caught up with the story and join us in future discussions. So getting right into it, I really like this scene right here because one of the things that people have huge issues with in the Boruto era is like ninja tech came out of nowhere, and they could have foreshadowed better the fact that there's going to be a transition away from ninjas being the end all be all, and where did all this stuff come from. And I've always kind of pushed back. I've always said, like, yo, there's been foreshadowing that we're going to be moving away from a time where it was solely about ninjas, and the Naruto manga kind of gave you a little bit of foreshadowing that this stuff was coming, whether it be the sound ninja like Dosu and Zaku, who Orochimaru made tools that utilize their chakra, that way they could do those sound jutsu, or you have people like Minato telling Naruto when they're meeting inside of Kurama's consciousness after Pain attacks the Hidden Leaf Village. Minato tells Naruto, hey, as long as the ninja system exists, ninja like Pain will always exist. Well, in Sasuke Jinraiden, Sasuke, after learning all the truth about Itachi, learning the fact that Itachi's medicine is what caused him to cough up all that blood and have those chest pains, and learning more about Itachi's illness and what he was doing to try and prevent it, learning the truth about Itachi, Sasuke starting to doubt the true intentions of Madara Uchiha, Sasuke going to this village and sitting in the shrine where Itachi was getting his medicine from and forming all these bonds. Sasuke's now gotten to a point to where Sasuke is starting to look at the ninja system a little bit differently. And this is what I like about this character. Again, when Sasuke gets new information, he updates his stance and he starts looking at things a little bit differently. And now you should start looking at how Sasuke got to the conclusion at the end of the war arc, where he's like, yo, I got to do away with the whole ninja system itself. The system that produced people like me and Itachi, that whole thing needs to go. That wasn't something that Sasuke just immediately came to that conclusion right then and there. That's been building up on the surface, and you're going to see it here because Sasuke is given new information that starts to plant the seeds for how we got to where Sasuke is at the end of the Naruto manga, before you get to the events of Naruto chapter 699, when he leaves the village and he starts reevaluating what it means to be a ninja. And adding a little bit more context to this, Sasuke is now taking Kina back to the Hypericum Shrine, and he's having the conversation with Reishi, and he's telling him, like, look, like, I offered to basically be his bodyguard and help him as he's trying to clear and restore the honor of your clan by finding the person that's doing all these random killings out here. Honestly, I'm just trying to pass the time. I'm trying to get some food. I'm not trying to get caught up in the affairs of a village where I know nothing about it, which honestly is a smart thing for Sasuke. But what you end up seeing here is the fact that the conversation ends up shifting, and this scene that we get here kind of reminds me of what you got in the Injustice comics, where you had the Flash and Superman and they're playing chess, and Flash and Superman are having a conversation about, well, where does the line stop in terms of enforcement? Do we just round up everybody who breaks the law? So somebody that jaywalks, they should be executed, right? Is that what you're trying to say? You just see Flash throw all of these extreme examples out there. Well, Sasuke is kind of in the position where Superman was, to where his ideology is being challenged right now. So with the scene and the context finally being set, we're going to jump into this conversation, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one. So it's here. I'm going to begin quoting. I silently drank my tea. I see that he listens to me. So please, Sasuke, about this matter, don't. Reishi began. You don't have to worry. I was never interested in this matter in the slightest. I played detective with them just to kill the time, I said. Reishi nodded. I tried to touch the subject. I'm a stranger and don't mean to interfere, but haven't you ever thought about leaving the village? I asked. Yeah, lots of times. However, this village is full of resources and is perfect for a herbalist like me, Reishi said. Nonchalantly, he changed the subject. He was staring at his tea motionless, as if it carried away a response. Then he raised his eyes and asked me, "Do you think the world is better out there?" Reishi asked. I didn't know what to answer to that. I thought about the quarrels with the other villages, about the deadly clashes between ninjas, about the domination of criminals like the Akatsuki members, about anybody who claimed for peace, inflicting pain on others. I couldn't say that the world was better out there. So I only answered, "I'm sorry. I'm not aware of the situation." And I said a foolish thing. I said. Reishi shook his head. "No, I'm the one who needs to be excused for Kina's behavior," Reishi said. The small teapot exhaled a light steam. In that long, clear autumn night, I had a feeling that all my worries had vanished, or at least nothing was troubling me. It's just my humble opinion, but I think that the ninja world is coming to an end. Their abilities will be replaced by new techniques. And one day, this world will turn into a place where we can't even imagine what it's going to be like. The wind coming from the porch prompted the silver grass in the vase to swing. Just like what happened with the blue explosive powder, I asked. Reishi wet his throat with the tea, then proceeded. Exactly. In the first place, the blue explosive powder was created by accident in an attempt to create the elixir for long life capable of curing any type of disease. The Kumaoni clan mixed the substance with potassium nitrate, sulfur, and charcoal, increasing its explosive power. Reishi said. They wanted to create a medicament for eternal life, but ironically, they obtained a murderous instrument instead, I said. A ninja's training course is very hard, and there are even peoples that lose their life during that training. For this reason, not everyone's apt to be a ninja. Even after the end of the training course, they know that they could die while carrying out a mission. They see death with their very eyes, but it's thanks to all of this that they're able to perfectly master the techniques that no one else is able to copy, Reishi said. Yeah, I suppose so, Sasuke said. However, that's exactly where the problem lies. What do you mean? I asked. 10 years ago, when the public opinion of the village split into two opposite parties about the matter of neutrality, an unpleasant event with the Rain Village occurred. Coming to know that plants could be used for the creation of hallucinogens grew on the Tree Wolves mountain range, some shinobi coming from that village stole into our country in order to take possession of it. I don't know much about the Rain Village, but I heard there's a few people who can use genjutsu. I said. The village of the Wolves Awakening and the village of the Wolves Nourishment quickly fell under their control, and soon they came after us. You probably already know that, but there aren't any noteworthy ninja in our village, and we are inferior to other villages in terms of abilities. In spite of this, we managed to defeat the Rain Village. Which do you think was the reason? Reishi asked. The blue explosive powder, I asked. Reishi nodded and said, exactly. In order to use the powder in battle, the Kumaoni clan created the Great Cylinder and the smaller one, along with the Sky Drop and the landmines. The use is very simple. You blow inside them or you place them on the ground. Year-long training is not needed. Not in the way that it is for ninjutsu. Even children can use these weapons without any types of problems, Reishi said. I understood where he was getting at. In other words, it means that if a ninja dies, nobody is able to use his techniques. While that sort of instrument can be used by anybody. We weren't capable of rivaling the Rain Ninja individually for sure. However, a battle is a team play. A ninjutsu is unique. It can't be replaced. If a ninja is defeated, then the strength of the whole team vanishes in a heartbeat. In our case, on the contrary, the loss of a single individual doesn't affect the collective power in the slightest, Reishi said. So it's in this way that you defeated the Rain Village. Is that the reason why you think that the ninja world is fated to end? Sasuke asked. Yeah, that's exactly it, Reishi replied. When you talk like that, however, it seems that you don't want it to end. Why? Wouldn't it also mean the end of bloodshed? I asked. Reishi stopped to think for a moment. Then he went straight to the point. Bloodsheds, they wouldn't end, Reishi replied. What do you mean? I asked. After the victory against the Rain Village, many of its ninja were taken as captives, Reishi continued. He was panting. It seemed that the past was resurfacing in his mind, even making him forget to blink. After a small pause, he resumed talking. Those from the Kumaoni clan brought them to the landmine field, Reishi said. The landmine field? I asked. Landmines are hidden in the ground. They're full of slightly moistened blue explosive powder on their inside. They're made in a way that they explode when a pressure is exerted on them. Since the pressure trigger can be established beforehand, if a child accidentally tramples on them in an explosion, it isn't triggered because the weight is negligible. They say that their power is equal to that of several explosive tags. In view of the Rain Village's attack, many of them were buried along the perimeter of our country. The men of the Kuomi clan forced the perimeters to walk over them, while the field was being surrounded by men armed with the cylinders. I was only 7 at the time, and what I saw remained engraved in my mind in an everlasting way. The prisoners who tried to flee were shot with the cylinders. The others, forced to step on the landmines, blew up one after the other. Every time a landmine exploded, gleeful shouts burst out. Reishi said. His eyes were filled with rage and he was gasping for breath. Reishi, I asked. After the battle, the villagers were elated. Blood flowed everywhere, and a severed hand landed next to me. They were laughing. Everybody was laughing. Reishi calmed down. My father wasn't wrong. Before that terrible sight, everyone was laughing. For what? Is it funny to see somebody die? Enough. I understand. Reishi, calm down. I shouted, grabbing him by the shoulders. Reishi widened his eyes. For a moment, he completely forgotten where he was. He opened his mouth and looked at me in confusion. He blinked several times and came to his senses. End quote. So what I like right there is that is a very human response. Reishi goes back to that trauma where he sees a human hand land next to him. He sees the cruelty of man, how even though those rogue ninja from the Rain Village came there and they're able to defeat them, they're able to overcome the ninjutsu that they use, they're able to do so using the scientific advancements of the explosives that they were able to create, which is foreshadowing for ninja tech eventually coming into the ninja world in of itself. Reishi, in the same way that Itachi was scarred as a toddler when he was taken out onto the battlefield by Fugaku, Reishi saw the evils of the ninja world, but he had a different reaction to Itachi. Reishi became a coward with good intentions, but a coward nonetheless, whereas Itachi became a pacifist and he wanted to change the ninja system, which I'll be covering in the Itachi Daylight and Midnight novels when I discuss those. But what I like about this scene is that Sasuke is getting a glimpse of what the future will be, because Sasuke comes to a conclusion. You're right. If somebody dies and they don't pass on their ninjutsu, then they're the last person who can use that jutsu. It dies with them. Whereas these weapons, anybody can just pick them up and use them, much in the same way that the Shinobi Gauntlet is able to shoot off ninjutsu that is stored inside of those scrolls. And because all these jutsu have been recorded into those Shinobi Gauntlet scrolls, the jutsu never truly dies. So I did like seeing that little bit of foreshadowing right there. And I like how Sasuke, once he sees where Reishi's going, he starts to kind of push back a little bit. And that's why I said that this reminded me a lot of the conversation between Flash and Superman. If you've only seen the Injustice movie, then I believe it was Mr. Terrific and Superman in the Injustice movie. In the comic book, it was Superman and the Flash, but the scene still pretty much plays out the same. And so I did like right here that, again, you see Sasuke getting the new information, he just files it away. So my question to you guys is, where do you stand in terms of ninja tech? Is it useful in the Shinobi world? Is that going to be something that replaces ninja altogether? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.